Welcome to Hokkaido, the second largest island in Japan after Honshu, but home to just 5% of Japan's population. The island's official symbol is the Lone Star, a great reference as a guiding light for the locals who pride themselves for belonging to Hokkaido first and then to Japan. In the next 15 minutes, you're going to find out the best of Sapporo city experiences. Get familiar with a very special and reclusive part of Japan, rarely seen on Indian television. So brace yourself for this tsunami of experiences as we bring you Explore's Top 5 Sapporo Experiences.
Namaste, Explore Travel Channel. My name is Kenji Watanabe. Welcome to my hometown in Sapporo, Hokkaido.
At number 5, we begin with a photo opportunity tour of Sapporo City, the capital of Hokkaido. Founded in 1868, the city of Sapporo has a much shorter history than most areas in Japan. An American engineer assisted in creating the grid system of this city, which runs east to west through the heart of Sapporo. So don't be surprised at the lack of traditional Japanese-style buildings here. The most iconic of buildings in all of Sapporo is the TV Tower. There's no way you'll miss this 147-meter high Eiffel Tower-shaped affair. The views from the observation deck at 90 meters are very impressive. Another iconic structure is this red-bricked, magnificent neo-Baroque building, the old Hokkaido Government Building. No tourist can leave Sapporo without snapping a photo of the city's signature landmark, the Clock Tower. Built 10 years after Sapporo City, the clock has not missed tolling for more than 130 years. The simple, white, wooden building evokes the feel of the American Midwest, a standing reminder of the influences on this city. The last stop of our whirlwind photo op tour is the Observatory Hill at Hitsuji-gaoka. This site used to be a sheep farm and a research center for wool. And no, we're not here for a photo op with sheep, but with a man who towers above all others in the entire city of Sapporo. This is the statue of Dr. William Clark, a symbol of the development of Hokkaido, especially in revolutionizing farming and agriculture in sub-zero temperatures. Although this American scientist spent just 8 months on the island, his impact on Hokkaido's economy and on Japanese society was significant. At number 4, we have just the thing every tourist in Japan wants to try, especially if you're heavily influenced by Hollywood movies like Memoirs of a Geisha and Karate Kid. Well, dress up in a kimono, looking dainty, mysterious, and so very graceful. If you have a chance, Try wearing a kimono. It's an interesting experience and makes a fun photo memory. So what's the big deal? For starters, a kimono has got to be worn left over right. This has roots in Japanese history, when a samurai wore swords. The basic shape is a simple tunic with long sleeves and tied with a belt called an obi. There are many different styles of kimono, and seeing one can tell you a lot about the person wearing it. Longer sleeves are for unmarried women. A single color jacquard pattern can indicate someone who does the tea ceremony. Putting on a kimono is an art form. It feels like a ritual in itself. One layer after another, like a wrapped up present you adorn. And finally, voila! You have transformed. It's amazing how your posture gets instantly corrected while you feel regal fanning yourself. No wonder geishas were so timid, because they literally couldn't be anything else, even if they wanted to. At number 3 is taking in an experience of a traditional Japanese tea ceremony. High on the list for many travelers to Hokkaido in Jozanke, not too far away from the capital city of Sapporo. Remember the Karate Kid Part 2? You remember, right? They were in Okinawa, there was a big storm, and Kumiko performed the tea ceremony for Daniel-san to let him know that she was falling in love with him. It won't be an exaggeration to say that the entire ceremony is like a spiritual journey of sorts. Every movement of the tea host is graceful and precise. Your eyes just get glued to the trance-like movements. The sitting posture can make you sore after a few minutes, but then that's a small price to pay for what you're about to experience. In everything I do, I'm thinking of you, is what our host told us. And it really felt warm and sincere in what she said. From heating the water, the way her wrists moved while mixing the tea, and the placement of the utensils. During the whole time we were there, slurping the last drops of the tea, we felt great affection for our host. The Japanese tea ceremony was not about the tea, but an accumulation of the best of Japanese culture. At the number 2 spot is a whiskey trail to taste some of the best scotch that you think came from the Scottish Highlands. A visit to the Nika Whiskey at their Yoichi distillery in Yoichi, again not too far away from the capital city of Sapporo. Established in 1934 by Masataka Taketsuru, Nika Whiskey was produced in its first distillery in Yoichi, Hokkaido, which was considered to be the ideal site in Japan for whiskey making. Similar in many ways to the Scottish town where Masataka had studied and where he met his Scottish wife Rita. Scotch whiskey captured the young Masataka's imagination, and he decided to dedicate his entire life to whiskey. The distillery is built in what we would describe as a Scottish-Japanese fusion style. You get allowed into a range of buildings around the distillery, like the tun room, still house, and the warehouse. The warehouses where you're let in contain only empty casks, in case you were planning to roll a barrel out through the back when nobody was looking. On the level 1 is a big tasting room where you have the chance to taste 10-year-old Yoichi and 17-year-old Nika blends. Two very different whiskies and both very delicious. Besides the tasting room, there is a whiskey museum telling you about, guess what? Whiskey, the history, and a lot of the links to Scotland. You can also spend your time in the bar where you can taste more or less the full range of Yoichi and Nikka besides a few scotch. The one thing that caught our attention is that all bottles were available in 18 centiliter versions without any price markups. Something we recommend other distilleries would also do. Rita and Masataka Taketsuru are buried together in Yoichi. Their love story is timeless. And as a fitting tribute to the love story we just shared with you, we decided to end our top 5 list with one of the most memorable and everlasting experiences in Sapporo, a trip to the summit of Mount Moewayama. Taking a ropeway ride, then a cable car ride to reach the top, where there is a large tourist complex, gift shops, restaurants, and magnificent views. As the sun comes down and the city lights up, you're in for one of the most spectacular and panoramic views of Sapporo. You can't help but feel you're close enough to touch Sapporo city. It's magical. Signboards help you spot landmarks like the Sapporo Dome, the Sapporo TV Tower, and the JR Tower at Sapporo Station. Moewayama is best known as a romantic location to take your loved one. And the drive up to the summit can inspire some romantic thoughts. We'd say a perfect way to end this top 5 experiences of Sapporo city.